Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today will be my game week 14 team selection. I'll run you through how I got on in game week 13. We've got a nice little green arrow. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with Ismail SARR and what transfer plans I have penciled in. And then we'll have a big discussion on captaincy. Let's get straight into it. So game week 13 was nice to me. No chip used and 133k in the world. A 40k green arrow from 170k, which is nothing drastic, but with 50 points and 3 free transfers used, I was very, very happy with the result. So the 3 moves I made this game week were bringing in Nico O'Reilly, also bringing in Szoboszlai and Thiago. Those were for João Pedro, Enzo, and also Mukiele. 3 players who didn't get anything this weekend. And also, um, one of my big transfers was, of course, Thiago, and he, of course, returned. O'Reilly also returned, but didn't get a big haul. Szoboszlai was a slight bit underwhelming, but we go into this game week with a nice fixture, which we'll talk about in the next section. But overall, I thought it was going to go much worse than it did. I think Bruno Fernandes in particular, with a late bonus upgrade to 11, and Anderson also at 6. So I watched the City game, I watched the United game, I watched the Liverpool game. From the United game, what I gathered was, Crystal Palace look really, really leggy. They seem to be struggling, and even Ollie Glasner said it after the game. And he also said, there was a bit of back and forth about, the board and him wanting a bigger backing with with them being in Europe. So not a great look for Crystal Palace, but they do, of course, go and play Burnley. And the big one this game week was SARR getting injured after about half an hour into the game, which was not ideal. But going back to Bruno, I feel like, he can always get assists out of nothing. He creates so many chances in the league that you're almost playing the numbers where he's just making so many chances that something is going to land eventually. And again, the 2 assists that he got weren't, golden chances. They are well taken. But cannot complain with Bruno. And again, just about hitting 11 DEFCON, so close to the 12 mark. But he did get the last bonus in the last hour or so. So very happy with that, of course. Elliot Anderson, DEFCON again and 2 bonus points without a return, and his team lost 2-0. That is absolutely ridiculous for 5.3 million. I feel like, again, like I spoke about in the last 2 weeks, one of the best value assets in the game, still yet to get under 10 DEFCON. A 9-pointer versus Liverpool, a 9-pointer versus Leeds, and a 6-pointer versus Brighton in a game where he didn't get anything other than 18 DEFCON or 17, I believe it was. Mo Salah didn't play, which, I was surprised with. I think a lot were, especially those on free hit. Um, I mean, I think it was coming though. He did play 90 midweek, and every single time Salah has a bad performance on the weekend, I always see how many minutes he goes to play on the weekend, and sometimes I am skeptical. But again, still surprised to see Arne Slot pull through. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't start Sunderland, which again we'll talk about in the captaincy section. Beside him, Szoboszlai, who I think played more on the right this time with Joe Gomez playing right back. But he still kind of floated around quite a bit. But nothing substantial for Szoboszlai in this game. Fortunately enough, it went in free hitters' favour. Very unfortunate for the triple captainers with Erling Haaland. Again, like I said, Nico O'Reilly with the assists, which is one I'm more than happy to hold on to for the time being, which I don't think a lot of people will have. But just on Haaland again, we'll talk about him in the captaincy section a lot more. But I feel like going into this game, the expectations were high, and he's been so good so far this season. It was almost felt inevitable that he was going to get something, and he didn't really get a sniff. But again, that's just the way it works sometimes. Again, it was kind of a similar story in the Burnley game where I captained him or triple captained him. Again, in the last 5 minutes, he just sparked out of nowhere and got his massive returns. But beside him again, Thiago, who came off with a knock again, another amazing, amazing return. I don't think I could have foresaw a 13-pointer, don't get me wrong, but a great buy this game week, and looks like he's actually rising in price tonight. And lastly, Nick Pope and Jurrien Timber. Nick Pope, who looks like he's lost his place, first off, but secondly, also has an injury. So I feel like he's definitely had his time in my team and his time to go. But I don't think I'll be able to move him on this game week. So I'll likely have to play the Bravka. Jurrien Timber, on the other hand, of course, a game in 3 days, which is not ideal. And he did play 90 minutes versus Chelsea. Had a great performance, I must add, as usual. He's been amazing this season. But with Gabriel and Saliba being out, his appeal is slightly dampened the tiniest bit with the minute concerns. Again, I think if he was ever going to be benched, it would be in this next game with Brentford at home. But again, I don't know if Arsenal can afford to do that with the two big boys out injured. Anyway, that concludes my game week 13 score. Let's look at my game week 14 team. So quickly before we get into the defense, do hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Again, the like goal for this video will be 200 likes. On goal, we've got the Bravco Crystal Palace at home. A tough fixture. Forward to back in Richards, O'Reilly, Anderson and Jurriën Timber. Just going back to Burnley Crystal Palace. Again, I have Chris Richards this game week. I'm unsure how to feel about having to start the Bravco. I just don't feel like it's worth making a move from Nick Pope to any goalkeeper in the game at this current point in time with the SARR injury and only one free transfer and 0.0 in the bank. Now, I have toyed around with the idea of taking a -4, but there is no iteration of it that I quite like and is worth making the move. So we go into this game week with O'Reilly beside Richards. Now, I feel like O'Reilly is a decent hold going into Fulham away. Again, it's not ecstatic by any means. I actually feel like Fulham at the Cottage is a difficult game, even for the likes of City. But as long as he starts, I'm going to be happy. And I think anything that happens in this game with so many areas on the pitch he's picking up, I'll be more than happy to have O'Reilly for. We have Joachim Anderson beside O'Reilly with City at home. Again, not an ideal fixture in my mind. I feel like City, due to how good they are, and they're trying to make that space between Arsenal and themselves smaller and smaller as the weeks go on. And it's a very hard task with how good Arsenal have been. But Joachim Anderson, if his floor is going to be 4 points, well, maybe 3 points in this game if we expect City to score a few goals, I'm more than happy to start him as long as he can get DEFCON from me. Beside him, we've got Jurriën Timber with Brentford at home. Again, I'm just worried about the minutes. Again, it's probably a 95% chance of Timber starting this game. You would be very surprised if he didn't. But I have to start him. Again, there's no world in which I'd be starting, of course, Joe Rodon or anyone along those lines. So this is my back four and goalkeeper for game week 14, and I don't think much will change. Let's get straight onto the midfield. So taking a look at my midfield, we've got 5 in midfield with Bruno Fernandes, SARR, Anderson, Mo Salah with the armband, and Dominic Szoboszlai. So first off, let's talk about Bruno again. With West Ham at home, he will be in contention for captaincy, and I want to speak about him more in the next section. But overall, a great fixture for Bruno, of course. We've got SARR, who I will need to transfer this game week. The one move that I'm looking to make, and I think it is an obvious one, quite boring, but it is Yankuba Minta. I want to look at some of the other options that are around this price point. I don't think there are too many that stand out. You have the likes of a Reinders, a Tavernier, and Anderson if you don't already own him, Mohamed Kudus, and none of these particularly stand out. So with Minta getting great game time in recent weeks and also being a good threat who's been on quite good form and not a bad fixture with Villa at home, I'm more than happy to bring him in for SARR. Again, not going to confirm that, but I just think it is very, very likely I do that move. Beside him is Anderson again with Wolves away. It doesn't matter the fixture for me. Anderson has to play. And he's just so good for DEFCON that it doesn't matter who it's against, like I said. Wolves away, maybe he could even get on the score sheet again this time around. I'd be intrigued to see who is on the penalties for Forest if they do get another one. So very happy to own him, of course, going into this game. And then we have the double up on the Liverpool attack, which the armband is currently on Mo Salah, which I won't speak about too much again in this section, but I will talk about minutes. So do we expect Salah to start this next game versus Sunderland at home? I think yes. I'd be very surprised to see him not start. And if anything, I think it would be, a big message to Mo Salah if he does not start this game. And that would create a fallout for sure. And that's not to say that can't happen. I just mean I don't look into him not starting this game this week more than what it was. Just a rest for Salah after playing 90 minutes and a 3-day turnaround after a game midweek. So I would expect Salah to start this game versus Sunderland. Now, how many minutes if he does start? Is it going to be 75 plus? I would say it's likely. Again, it's quite rare we see Salah get subbed at the 75 mark. But yeah, that's my little piece on his minutes. But let me know if I am just a small bit optimistic on him because I own him. And he is dragging my team value down. But I think at this point, I just have to hold on to him as he has Sunderland and Leeds before we get the information on when he goes off to AFCON. Again, Szoboszlai with Sunderland at home. Happy owning him, of course. And again, not too many worries on my end, I don't think, because he's an absolute minutes machine. But 90 minutes and a 3-day turnaround, slightly concerning. But other than that, Let's get straight into the forward line before we talk about captaincy. So, lastly, of course, we've got Erling Haaland on the bench. We've got Thiago and Mark Guy. So, I could play Thiago if Ismaila Sarr was out, but Arsenal away, it doesn't get harder than that. And again, I know I spoke about the two defenders being out, but does that really make much of a difference by virtue of how Arsenal set up nowadays? And again, the two replacements that they do have are fantastic in their own right. So I think it is unlikely that I do start Thiago unless I'm really desperate. But I'm very happy with my team going into this game week. Again, fixture congestion is on my mind slightly. So as long as I'm getting the minutes, I'm a happy manager, and I do have to make a move this game week. I think other than the SAR move, I could also do Pope down to a Petrovic perhaps as and playing the fixture. Ideally, I think I want Antoine Semenyo in this team, and I've also looked at routes of doing a -4 from Mo Salah to Bukayo Saka, and potentially doing SAR up to Semenyo, and that also leaves 2 million in the bank. But I just don't think, unless Salah is going to miss this game versus Sunderland at home, which we won't find out before the deadline, I can't imagine, which is on Tuesday, by the way, just a reminder. But I don't see myself taking a hit this game week, and I actually don't mind my team too much. But the big discussion this game week is the captaincy. Let's get into it. So, lastly, lads, taking a look at the game week 14 captaincy section, Mo Salah leads it for me at number 1. Next is Bruno Fernandes, third Erling Haaland, and fourth Bukayo Saka. Now, I do think there's very, very little to split all of these captaincies going into this game week, providing you see Salah getting the minutes this game week, which I personally can see, and also Saka. Again, with the fast turnaround and with him getting a lot of minutes in recent weeks, maybe I'm thinking we're likely to see an early sub for him this game week. But if that's not enough to put you off, and that Brentford at home game being a phenomenal fixture, I can see why you'd go there. But let me talk about Salah a bit more. I actually don't think Salah has been particularly poor this season. I think, again, he's just not been himself. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and when he did play, I think he's actually been quite good. I don't think he's particularly the option on why this, particularly the reason why Liverpool have not played so well in recent weeks. Now, I don't think they were outstanding against West Ham, but they definitely were a bit better with the likes of Ekatike, Verts, and Isaac finally firing, and also Cody Gakpo, of course, who got a goal and assist for those who were on free hit. So Salah, because I think he's going to get 80 plus minutes and he has the best fixture with Sunderland at home. I see the best fixture, but still at Anfield. And I know Sunderland are on good form, but Sunderland are a team who are going to concede goals, and we've seen that in recent weeks, even though they've been on good form. So Mo Salah leads it for me. Again, if he's going to start this game and he's going to be on the pitch, he's going to be on penalties. And I'm more than happy to try roll the dice on him. Next is Bruno Fernandes, who I've put second, which I think will be a surprise to a lot of people. But I do feel like a lot of people will edge towards Bruno over Haaland this game week. I think particularly because we saw an 11-pointer from him this week against Crystal Palace, and again, 1 off 11 or 1 off 12 DEFCON once again for the third or fourth time this season. But West Ham at home, it doesn't get much better as a fixture than that. Again, West Ham are just really struggling. Paqueta missing this game also. And United as an attack are still really good in my eyes. So Bruno takes the second place for the captaincy section. Third is Erling Haaland with Fulham away, like I said. Now, Haaland could easily be the best captain by far and blow all of these options out of the water by his form. I don't look at his recent performances and go, he's off it. He's just not had the chances we're used to him getting, and the goals have been a small bit shared in recent weeks. But I still feel like he's, easily as good as an option as anyone on this list. And Fulham away is a tough enough game, but City will always generate chances. So he gets third on the list. And like I said, fourth is Bukayo Saka, due to the slight minutes risk. Again, if you think he's going to get more than 80 minutes, I think he's just as good as an option as anyone. But it's very small margins, and when I consider that Bruno and Haaland are more likely to get 90 minutes and Salah with 85 plus in my mind, this is how I've just put him in. And again, Brentford is a great fixture, and I feel like Arsenal will score. So just to consider a small bit with his minutes, with all the guys coming back from injury also, and the congestion getting tough. So that concludes the end of the video, lads. Again, if you did like the video, do hit the like button and subscribe. I am edging towards going Mo Salah with the armband this week. unless we get a few quotes or press conferences before that might put me off. And otherwise, I will go to Bruno Fernandes. In terms of the transfer, I'm looking to get rid of SARR because I don't think it's worth making a goalkeeper transfer this week, nor taking a -4 hit. So I'm going to wrap it up there, lads. Again, I will catch you for a deadline stream on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as usual, I will see you in the next.